he looked at the word classes or the parts of speech. Today specifically, I'm going to look at verbs, and I'm going to limit my lessons purely to verb tenses. When we say tenses in English grammar, tenses mean time. Tenses mean time. This is to indicate the time the action or the event occurs. And we are going to learn that there are 12 different times in English language. That's why we are here today. We are going to learn the 12 different times in English language. But in order for us to have a solid foundation, we are going to conjugate some of the verbs because we are really going to need them as we proceed. I want to use this part of the board to conjugate the verbs to be, to have, and to do. There are 8 verbs under the verb to be. To start with, we have am, we have is, we have are, we have, where we have the verb to be, we have been and being. All right, verb to have, we have has, we have and had. Next to that, the verb to do, we have does, we have do, we have done, and did. All right. Now, we brought these out because they are going to serve as pillars in order for us to understand all the 12 verb tenses. To start with, we have the present. There are 4 verbs under the present. 1, we have the simple present tense. All right, we are still going to lay the solid foundation. We are going to continue to lay the solid foundation. We have to understand that there are generally 2 kinds of verbs. We have those that make their past tense or past participle by adding d or ed. They are called regular verbs, and those that make their past tense or past participle by changing them completely. We are going to use 2 as case study. Now, regular verbs.
Be careful.
Right.
Just everything that we met.
Okay. Let's take the verb to take. This is irregular. The verb to take, its forms, the past tense is took. The past participle is taken. All right, this is irregular. Now the irregular, let's say the verb to check. The past tense is checked. The past participle is, you can use have or has checked, depends on the subject. All right, the simple present tense form of the verb. Now let's use this verb as an example. The verb to check, we're going to use it in all through the 12 verb tenses. Let's say, for example, they check his book every day. This is the simple present tense form of the verb. Next to that, we have the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense. Now, you remember when I told you we need these verbs as solid foundation? Now, in order to form the present continuous tense, you are going to need one of the auxiliary verbs under the verb to be. It becomes So you need plus the verb plus ing to the verb to make the present continuous tense. Now this is to tell you about an action that is going on.
Time for keep between
Okay.
Because television will show you what's in the syllables.
All right. Okay.
So like we can count to 18 down. Yes, and also try for increase you font size.
Okay.
It is possible for writing all caps. No, if you know.
All right. R plus the verb plus ing to the verb. So form the present continuous tense. Now this is telling us about an action that is going on while the statement is made. So that's why we use the present continuous tense. And back to this simple present tense, they check his book every day. It talks about an habitual verb, an habitual action. They check his book every day. The third one under the present is the present perfect tense. Now, under the present perfect tense, we are going to need a verb under the verb to have as an auxiliary verb. Now, it's like this. They have checked. They have checked his book. Now, see, have plus checked. You form it by using have plus the verb plus the past participle form of the verb. All right. So the present perfect tense is used to communicate an action that had already been done but still affects the present. It was done in the past, but it still has an impact on the present. 4. We have the present perfect continuous tense. All right. In order to form the present perfect continuous tense form of the verb, for example, we say they have been checking his book since J1. Okay, so they have been checking his book since J1. How is the present perfect continuous? Because the use of have plus been plus checking. So that's how you form the present perfect continuous tense. Okay, an action that started in the past, it is still going on in the present, and there's every tendency that it is going to continue in the future. All right, that is for the present. So we looked at 4. I told you there are 12 different times under English grammar when you talk about tenses. Now we look at the past. We are going to look at the past now. Well, we have the simple past. What is the past tense of check here? It's checked. Okay? They checked his book yesterday. So That is a simple past tense. Okay, the checked his book yesterday. It communicates an action that happened and was completed in the past. Simple. Okay, this does not include any auxiliary verb. All right, let us continue numbering. Let's do this. Is 5 now. 6. We have the past continuous tense. The past continuous. Now, so they were checking his book when I entered. So you use the auxiliary verb where plus the main verb check plus ing to the verb. It tells you that it was an action that was going on when something else happened. So they were still checking his book when I entered. All right. So number 7, we go to the past perfect tense. In order to form the past perfect tense form of the verb, we are coming here again. We are going to use an auxiliary verb under the verb to have. And what is it? We are going to use had. So, can you guess it? It is simple. They had checked his book. So you use had plus the past participle form of the verb to form the past perfect tense. And lastly, for the past, that's number 8 now, we have the past perfect continuous tense. We form the past perfect continuous tense. Now, we are going to need a verb under the verb to be and under the verb to have. So we are going to use had plus been plus the ing form of the verb. They had been checking his book since it was 4. They used had plus been plus the verb plus the ing form of the verb to communicate the past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so don't forget this. This is all for the past. So we've looked at 8 different times now in tenses. Now we go again to the future. The future. Alright, for the future. Now, in order to form the future tense, we are going to examine the use of will. Okay? We need the verb will. So, as this starts. Now, we have the future simple tense. See, they will check his book when he gets home. So the future simple is they will check his book. It talks about an action that is bound to take place sometime in the future. Sometime in the future. This is 9. Okay, number 10 now, we have the future continuous tense. All right, the future continuous. Say they will be checking his book. They will be checking his book this evening. Okay? Use will plus be plus the verb plus ing to form the future continuous tense. Now, 11. Next, that is the future perfect tense. How do you form the future perfect tense? Now, we are going to need another auxiliary verb. They will have checked his book by 9 p.m. Okay, will plus have plus the main verb check plus ed. So that is a past participle form of the verb. They will have checked his book by 9 p.m. Okay, it talks about an action that is supposed to take place in future and that might have ended at a particular time in the future. That's what I said, by 9 p.m. So by 9 p.m. it's expected that they should have completed checking his book. Okay, the last one, number 12, it is the future perfect continuous tense. All right. So subsequent lessons that will be done now, okay? Future perfect continuous tense. In order to form the future perfect continuous tense, we are still going to need the roots, modal verb, will, and some other elements. Say, they will have been checking his book for 2 hours in the next 5 minutes. So, what do we need here? Will plus have plus being plus the main verb plus ing. So, they will have been checking his book for 2 hours and the next 5 minutes. So, this is to communicate that, you know, the action started in the past, it is still going on, and it will end at a particular time in the future. So, in the next 5 minutes, will clock 2 hours since they have been checking his book. So that is how we communicate the future perfect tense. Okay? So, pupils, I hope you have learned all the 12 verb tenses. Just that we just use an example of the regular verb, check. Now we can still use an irregular verb, the verb to take, to sell, to go, you know. But in the next lesson, we are going to look at another example of the verb tenses. We are having a case study of an irregular verb, any of the irregular verbs, okay? So